Hello friends, I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into it, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. What is this about? Looking at the little page of swords and the two of swords. Are you making a decision to break an energetic connection with something? Intuitively, I'm getting that for some of you. It's like, should I keep watching them? Should I stop watching them? This is like that hanging around type of energy. Maybe you're also trying to figure out like what you want to energetically be exchanging with right now. And this can be with anything, right? This can be with content that we're watching. This can be movies. This can be music, videos, people we're having conversations with. Look at the High Priestess coming out here. It seems like intuitively you know something and a decision needs to be made. What'd I just say? Intuitively you know something and a decision needs to be made. The Judgment card, in this context, I'm seeing this be like you connecting with your higher self here and possibly even making a very big decision for yourself using as much intuitive wisdom as possible in order to make this call. For some of you, this is related to your ascension. It like maybe some type of spiritual upgrade even that you're going through. Getting something about not wanting to miss the train. I just want to clarify this. When I'm channeling, I will repeat to you what it is that I'm hearing or what messages come through, but I don't always know what they mean for the context. So know that too. I explain as much as I know, and also when a person is channeling, it's like a different frequency. If I were having a conversation with someone, I'm tuned into a different channel than when I am channeling, when I do the reading. So know that as well. Sometimes the way the messages come through, it sounds different than if somebody were speaking in a linear fashion with you within a conversation, because channeling goes beyond and supersedes like the linear platform of how things work. And that's also why when we have tarot readings, you can watch a reading that someone did 5 years ago and it can resonate for exactly what happened to you today. And it's because it's beyond the spectrum of linear time in that way. It is not contained. So maybe a special message for somebody curious. So sometimes I do get tripped up on the words and things come out in strange ways. And again, it's because like the faculties are different that are being used than when one has a normal conversation. So yeah, maybe some of you guys are also getting into channeling, or it's something you're interested in. It definitely does feel like a different part of like the energy and brain space that is used. There was actually a study done that was about people that had psychic gifts and things like that, and when they were channeling and doing their thing, they were actually using a different area of their brain than when we have normal conversations. And so yeah, if I can find the link for that, maybe I will include that in the description if I watch this video back and remember. You know what? I'm getting a feeling right now. There may have been something that intuitively you were feeling, and you may not have gone with what you were feeling. Maybe because you weren't so trusting of what it was that you were picking up on. But now it's something that you are working on. This feels like one of those moments where you could have had a higher knowing, but been like, oh, that's illogical, or, well, this person's telling me that it's not true, or like whatever it is that we tell ourselves. So there could have been something, again, intuitively that you got the message of, and you may have disregarded it because you weren't like in full trust yet with what your intuition was telling you. And it may have led you to a situation where you could have been like maybe ignoring some things. It's like, well, I don't have cold, hard, objective, empirical data to be telling me this. And so I'm just going to go with what I can see. But because of not using that sense of your intuition, it could have led you to a situation that you ended up, I'm hearing flatlining within. You ended up feeling disappointed about. It's like something did not go the way that you hoped for it to. And maybe this is also one of those moments too. It's like, in retrospect, I should have followed my gut. I'm kind of seeing something like that. The reason this is being brought up is because it feels very much like a situation, or maybe multiple situations, that we're learning from at this point in time. Because I'm seeing something that you're studying and focusing on very closely. And it feels like a motion that we're doing right now to get even more connected with ourselves. Because that connection with the High Priestess that each of us have within ourselves is always there. It's just a matter of whether or not we're in full trust with that. So it feels very much like the situations where you weren't so trusting of yourself because you didn't have... Oh, this is reminding me so much. There's a poem by Emily Dickinson called Split the Lark, and this reminds me of that so much. Again, maybe a specific message for someone. I love that poem. But yeah, it's about how we get into this place sometimes where we only rely on empirical data. Empirical data means data that we can observe in a finite way. And it does not include our intuition. It only includes things that are observable and measurable, and so forth. And so we can be skeptical of things and want to dissect them, in order to find the proof, rather than going with the flow and trusting ourselves. And maybe you found yourself in a situation like that, where it's like, for no other reason apart from your gut telling you something was wrong, like you had nothing else to go off of. There was no proof. You didn't find anything, but your intuition was telling you, and you may have ignored it. Again, I'm getting this as a very big point here. All about self-trust. But yeah, anyway, the poetry, in short, is about someone who has to dissect something and take it completely apart in order to understand it. But it's like a living, breathing thing. It's the lark, it's the bird. And so once the person dissects it in order to like find the music, in order to find out like how it does what it does, it ends up being dead because you dissected the whole thing. So that's what the poem is about, essentially. Part of it. Poetry is very complicated, but it, like, related to this, that is how I'm seeing it be related. Shout out to Emily Dickinson, a true genius. Yes. Yes, this is so on point. I'm seeing a lesson here when it comes to... I love when we get good things to channel from. This seems like a lesson about you listening. When we talk about the feminine of the throat chakra, when we talk about the Queen of Swords, this is about you listening intently. This is about you receiving and translating information, especially when it comes, this is discrimination, this is discernment. When it's coming from your intuition, it's about listening to that and trusting that and using that as a means to make decisions for yourself. So this is not just what's observable and what you're seeing. This is what you're feeling. It's what you're sensing. And valuing that as much as you do, like what you can see in the 3D. And being confident with your decision making. Your again, feminine, your intuitive decision making. Because we're looking at the High Priestess, like all in a little curve over here connected. It's the High Priestess and the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands here. And this is, when we talk about feminine energy, it's about what we are feeling and what we are sensing and what we are doing with that and how we are making decisions, especially with the Judgment card here. And this is about being confident in what it is that you're picking up on, what it is that you're sensing, and also being confident when you feel like something's off or you don't want to take an offer or you know intuitively something is wrong for you, without any other needing to have any other reason apart from it not feeling like it's right for you, you being able to stand in that and be like, you know what, something doesn't feel right, or I don't want to be involved in that. And knowing that you don't need any other reason too. So this is you like really holding space for yourself, like really keying in, tuning into what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you're sensing. For some of you, this is a review of a past relationship. For others of you, this is related possibly to something that's going to be coming up for you. I'm seeing a situation coming about that you are not necessarily going to be given any proof that anything is wrong or shady or whatever about a situation. However, intuitively, you're feeling like it's like something is off, or you don't know everything, or why do I feel confused right now? And these are your keys that you're meant to be paying attention to, because you're going to be avoiding something that looks unfortunate by following your intuition. And this is specifically related to a situation where you feel like something's up. This is not like everything's going well and now I'm going to be paranoid. This is like if you are in a situation and all of a sudden you're feeling weird about something, it's coming from somewhere. So it's all about trying to figure out why that is coming about, where that's coming from, what your intuition is telling you, what that means for you. But yeah, I'm looking at, again, not for everybody, but for some of you specifically, I'm seeing somebody from the past pop up. This is someone you would perceive as being intelligent and somebody you would perceive as being attractive as well. I'm seeing somebody come through and make an offer to you. This is something that could have taken a long, long time to come through. Like, for some of you specifically, I'm getting, like, you could have watched so many readings and had people be like, yeah, this person's gonna reach out to you, and you're like, when? It feels like this is that time that it's actually going to happen. So remember, too, these are general readings as well. I'm seeing you focusing on your job. I'm seeing that something also could have happened as well where you may have been like distracted when it came to what you were building towards or what you were working on, whether this is like career or school or like certain aspirations that you had because of the relationship that you had with this person. And there's a sense of like whatever that was bleeding into your like work or family or home life in some way. And I'm seeing like the further you've gotten away from this situation, the more that you've been working actively on like creating like a hopeful and happy environment around you, or at least trying to get to that point where you're starting to feel like this is something that you can have. Like really, really focusing on that and not just wallowing in things. This is about actively seeking your happiness and things that bring you joy, and you really reflecting to be like, what is it that I want? Like, where do I feel like I'm going to be fulfilled? How do I fulfill myself? How do I bring happiness to myself? This is also about checking ourselves and understanding too, when we're in a situation, talking to ourselves in a way where it's like, nothing makes me happy. This doesn't make me happy. That doesn't make me happy. It's a time to reflect and be like, nothing is meant to be making you happy. You're meant to be making yourself happy. So this is too about sitting with yourself within those moments and being like, what can I do for myself? What do I have control over? How can I change things? What am I unhappy with? What do I want to do about it? Or if you don't want to do anything about it, you don't have to do anything about it. But this is also about knowing too how you can empower yourself if you choose to. And if you don't, then you don't. And there's still no judgment with that. It's all about whatever you want to do and what you choose to do, while knowing all of your options. I'm looking at the moon and Pluto in the first spread. Whether this is nostalgia coming back and knocking at your door, or this is a person, for some of you, I'm seeing an actual physical person coming back from your past. So again, whether this is someone from your past or this is like nostalgia knocking at your door, this is about you setting boundaries and being confident with what you're doing. This is you also keeping your ears pinned and really listening, keeping your ears open and really listening to what is coming through, what is entering energetically. Not just, again, I'm getting this so strongly, this is not just you catching someone red-handed doing something shady. This is you having a feeling and not needing to get any further proof than just knowing you have a feeling, and that's reason enough for you to remove yourself from a situation, or to back off, or to be like, you know what, I'm feeling something right now, and to keep track of that, to pay attention to it. Because I will say this too, when you are dealing with a certain type of person, and apart from their other agendas that they have, one of the main agendas is for you not to find proof of what they're doing. You're seldom going to find that proof of like them doing something. And so this is about when you are in situations, rather than feeling the need, I mean, I guess you can play the game if you want to, but if you don't want to play the game, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be about you trying to outsmart someone or figure something out, or again, catch them red-handed. This is about you being like, you know what, I feel like something's weird, and whether or not you're going to admit it, I'm trusting my intuition, and I don't want to do this anymore, you know? It's about empowering yourself by listening to yourself. And not needing to prove anything, not needing to have anything. Because, I mean, yeah, it's nice when we can be like, yeah, solidly, this is why I don't want to, and this is what I found out, and this is what I know. However, I believe that it's just as powerful when you're really listening to yourself, regardless of what you're being told, if you truly are picking up on something. You have to also know as well that your intuition is grounded, too. I always want to caution that, because sometimes we can be paranoid and projecting, and so it's also important to check yourself too in that space. If you know that you're not doing anything suspicious that would have you be projecting onto somebody, and you're being very honest and you're picking up on something, then I would pay attention to that. However, if you're also doing something that you may feel guilty about because you think it's shady or dishonest or whatever, then you also may be projecting onto someone. So that's also something to keep in mind as well. I know this is a lot of information. Hope everybody's bearing with me right now. You can always come back to the video and watch the rest if you'd like to. It's not going anywhere. Aquarius, this feels like a big message. This feels like letting go of anything that is not meant to be on your divine path, letting go of anything that you feel is not pure in the way that you want things to be pure, letting go of anything that you feel like is out of alignment, making that choice for yourself, empowering yourself, getting in touch with your true nature. Feeling more like yourself too, because this too feels like shedding and letting go of anything that you're not meant to be holding on to anymore, so you can feel more like yourself and feel more within your energy, so you can find and attract what you're looking for, whether this be another person or this be strengthening your connection or this be finding more unity within your relationship with yourself. It feels like letting go of anything that is not you, that is not meant for you. And this means too recognizing that. It means thinking about what we need to let go of. What's holding me back? What do I want to hold on to as well? Are there things I want to hold on to? How much of this am I willing to shed? And also being honest with yourself in your process for where you are. It feels like an undoing in a way, but more so a way of shedding and unraveling, so you are getting back to recognizing the core of who you are here. And the more in touch we are with ourselves, the more we're empowering ourselves, the more we're turning the volume up to listen to ourselves, the more clear things are about where we're meant to be going, about what our needs are, about what our desires are, about where our fulfillment is, about how to fulfill ourselves. And really understanding the power of our intuition too, especially as I don't feel particularly like that is something that we are necessarily commonly taught. Sometimes we are. However, there are a lot of people that do struggle to get connected with their intuition, and so it's usually something that we have to take it upon ourselves to learn about. And so this also feels like you doing what you can to learn more about yourself through your intuition and finding information that allows you to connect with yourself more. This is too understanding that each of us have an individual path, and so as much as it's wonderful to be able to find things that tell you to do A, B, and C, when it comes to the individual path, it's not cookie cutter like that, and it's going to be different for each of us. Even in slight ways. You may have a similar path to somebody, and just in the smallest way, it's about referencing your inner light and your intuition rather than somebody else telling you what to do or what decision to make. And trusting yourself enough to go through with that, regardless of whether or not you feel you have support outside of yourself as well. So this is about you supporting yourself too, in that way. Again, I'm looking at the moon and Pluto right next to each other. This feels like a whole change when it comes to how we are perceiving things, the astral body, the emotional body with the moon here, and with Pluto, everything being flipped upside down and uncovered and dug up, getting to the core, getting to the catalyst of it. And lastly, we have you here, Aquarius. And the star is a sign of hope and wellness and dreams and visions that we have, wish fulfillments, miracles happening too. So that is where we are going to end things for today. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I am wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.